All right, so let's see what we have here in terms of layer separation. As you can expect, we are having, it seems that they are not merged together. So probably I'm going to use another example. It's not a cleaned up character. I thought it was clean. Hot dog. Where's? Yes. Correct. So I would say if it was me, to make it a little bit easier to rig, I would merge it with the torso altogether. But also at the same time, it will give us more opportunity to individually control them. You can see that the arms are split, the legs are separated from the shoe, just for getting a little bit better deformation on each one of them individually. You can see that we have some overlapping between these drawings. So the leg, although it's behind the torso, still it's extended to its full shape. Just in case we are rotating it too much, so we don't want to see a gap between these two. Similar to that for the arms, the head is split. I'll talk about the facial features later on, but for now, this is one example. So another example here. And you can see that the arms are complete drawings, even the one that is behind it. It's a completed drawing. Right? You can see here the neck is extended behind the head. If it was me, I would even just make it a little bit more rounded, just in case I want to have the head to move around a little bit more dramatically. The more overlapping I have, the more freedom in terms of rotations for the bears. Though if I extend it too much, they might show up on the other side. So you have to find that balance there. For some reason, this file is acting crazy. So in this case, if it was me, I would separate the sword from the arm for one reason. If I place the pins on the arm and I start rotating the wrist, there is a chance that I might deform the sword as well. In cases that you're dealing with rigid objects, it's best if you split them from the deforming geometries. So you won't get any deformation on those rigid bodies, right? The torso, you can see again, we are having this overlapping drawing here. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's acting like this. You can see in this case, the jaw is separated, so we can actually animate the jaw, right? Very simple design. And the ears. In this case, for example, I will place pins on the ears as well because I want them to bounce too, right? If you do not place pins on this long ear, you will get a very rigid ear at the end. So you need to make pins on. And I would say at least 4 pins would be good for this ear here, right? All right, so let's just open up the last one. So it will give me the opportunity to talk about the facial expressions or in general drawing replacements. This is another character. This student decided to split the arms into 2 pieces, but I'll ask you guys not to do it because if you do it, then you don't get a chance to use the puppet pins, right? We are here to practice those. So make sure that your design is in a way that allows you to practice the puppet pins. Now, this could be actually rigged in the cutout style. Anyways, so I want to talk about the drawing replacements that I asked you guys to do for your characters. I said you need to have at least one part of your character to have drawing replacements. This is the term that they use in Photoshop, in After Effects, as well as in Harmony. We can call them drawing replacements, drawing substitutions. or I think there's another term for it. They're referring to different shapes for a given layer. You can see in this case, I'm having different eyes. Eye open, eye half open, eye wide open, eye closed. I'm having different drawings for the mouth, right? So the reason why we are having this is that in 2D, it's hard to create a rig that helps us to animate the eyes or even the mouth. In those cases, we actually draw them in every single pose that we want them. We draw them, and when it's time to rig them and animate them, we only switch between this, right? So we turn off the mouth open, we turn on the mouth closed, right? We turn off the eye open, we turn on the eye closed, right? So we call them drawing replacements. They are supposed to be sitting on top of each other in Photoshop or the tool, the drawing tool that you're using, the design tool that you're using. The drawing replacements are supposed to be exactly in the spot that they're supposed to be at paper. You will group them together in Photoshop. When we bring them into After Effects, they will come as a composition. I will talk about how to set them up. For now, when you're working on your character design, make sure that all of your drawing substitutions are sitting in the position that they're supposed to be. So this character sheet here is good for presenting this character, but when it's time to prepare that for importing into After Effects, they're supposed to be laid on top of each other, right? You can do that for hands as well. You can have different drawing or hand gestures as drawing replacement. You can have finger open, all fingers open, fist, or anything that you want. If you can think about the action that you want to get out of your character, you can think of the expressions or hand gestures that you want, right? So you have to practice it. That's one of the requirements for this character. So think about what you want to do. In this case, I would even split the eyes from the mouths as well, because sometimes I might want to have the eyes open, but still animate the mouth. So in this case, it's not allowing me to do it, because if I switch from one shape to the other one, it's affecting both the eyes and the ear and the eyebrows and the mouth together. So it's best if you focus on each one of the facial expressions or hand gestures individually. Okay, all good. I have 9 minutes left. I'll talk about the eyes as well, and we can wrap up the class. Any questions so far in terms of how to design a character for testing purposes? Okay. We'll have one class dedicated to setting up the eyes and the drawing replacements, but for preparing purposes, I'll talk about it. For the eyes, you will have the white of the eye, and you will have the pupil. The pupil should be separated because you want to eventually look at animating the pupil. You want to have a character to look correct, right? So you will have one layer for the left pupil, one for the right. These two should be separated. The reason why we separated into left and right is that sometimes we want to have the character to create some crazy poses for the eyes, right? So we want to have eye, what is it called? Wall eye or something like that for the character, right? We want to have the pupils to perhaps look like this. So if there are one layer, we can't do that. So it's best if you separate them into left. They are supposed to be a complete pupil, even if they are not going to be visible in the white of the eye. The layer itself is supposed to be perfectly complete pupil, right? You should not crop it and fit it into the white eye. That's another thing. You will have one layer just for the whites of the eye, because eventually we're going to use that as a mask for the pupil itself. So the pupil is only going to be visible within the region of the white of the eye. So we need to have one individual layer for the white of the eye. The reason why I emphasize on that is that sometimes your design might include some line work. Right? This is the line or the outline of your drawing for the eye. What we care about to act as a matte is just the white part. So in these cases, if you're designing your character like this, if your design includes line work, line and fill, you will design it as a full eye, but then you'll extract the white part of the eye So we can use it as a math for it. So you will end up having multiple layers of color, right? One layer just including the field of the white color. Make sense? Right. Again, I will talk about how we set it up in that, but for now, just maybe thought maybe it's good to talk about it because you might want to actually start importing it into Apple. Good. All right. So on Wednesday, I know I'm giving a lot of lectures this week. On Wednesday, I will wrap up talking about the Greek tool, talking about the inverse schematic. So you have all the knowledge in terms of dealing with the tool itself. Next week is going to be very light in terms of the lecture. So this Wednesday, we'll have at least 2 hours of working time. Next week is going to be mostly dedicated to the course. So you will have enough time to actually finish up the rig. The due date for the rig is 2 weeks from now. So you have enough time to work on the rig itself. And we are not going to even touch the animation. So we will have enough time to finish the rig itself. I'm having a good feeling that we might even be finished with the rig itself next Wednesday. So we have at least extra 5 days to start testing the rig in motion. Because for the animation state, we have 1 week. So I want to make sure that you have enough time to practice any of these steps. Okay. All good in terms of the next steps. Yeah. Cool. We have, I guess, 5 minutes left. If you want me to take a look at your current progress for your character, I can just quickly come to you, give you some very quick feedback, and then we can wrap up the class. Maybe 30 seconds for each one.